Hi, we're team number 4 and we're going to explain our application activity that is about the importance of social sciences research video. Our team members are Elis Natalia Evans Hernandez, Alejandro Díaz Torres, Diego Grijalva Solares, Wendy Sofía González Cepeda, and me, Gabriela Yamilet Almaguer Montes. I'm going to expose about an investigation about education. The study was teaching methods and students' academic performance. Mainly, the objective of this study was to investigate the differential effectiveness of teaching methods on students' academic performance. A sample of 109 undergraduate students from the College Department of Economic and Business Sciences was used for the study. The differential effectiveness of the three teaching methods on student academic performance was analyzed using the general linear model based on invariant ANOVA technique. The three investigating methods were teacher-centered, student-centered, and teacher-student interactive. The data for the study were generated from students' academic performance assessment test scores. The scientific methodology for this study was, with the research design for this investigation, was an experiment study. The independent variable were teacher-centered method, student-centered method, and teacher-student interactive method, and the dependent variable was student test scores. The population for this study was undergraduate students from three fields of specialization, namely human resource management, accounting, and marketing management. The sample consisted of 109 students. The 3.4 data was the test was prepared by the lecturer from selected topics of inferential statistics, namely confidence interval estimation, hypothesis testing, and chi-square distribution. The research technique was a file technique with the instrument questionnaire. For this study, it was considered the file technique since it is collected data through immediate contact with experimental observational methods. The instrument used was a questionnaire since a test was applied to the 109 students. The mean scores results demonstrate that teacher-student interactive method was the most effective teaching method, followed by student-centered method, while the teacher-centered approach was the least effective method. First, the first figure is the students' academic performance on their test scores, then the descriptive statistics, and the 2K HSD post hoc tests.
Okay, so I'm going to explain sociology. The explanation of the study was the last census done in our country. Overall, this census made in the country has the aim of formulating government plans for the development of the neediest areas. Note the social, demographic, and economic behavior of the population in the intercensal period. Also, it provides information for the preparation of population projections. The main objective is to recollect statistical and graphical information from the country. Scientific methodology. The control group in this experiment was the people who were surveyed. This could be mostly adult people, because they are the ones who knows most of the information from their home and their family. But kids or older people could also be present in the survey. A little more than 147,000 interviewers participated in it, and they cover nearly 2 million square kilometers of our national territory. The research technique was field technique, and the instrument used was the survey. For collecting all this data, the field technique used was the survey because it followed the process of asking people for some of their personal information through a questionnaire, with the intention of generalizing the results to a larger population. Um, the results are in here is the total population, the different type of gender, and also the people that has like a home.
Okay, I'm going to talk about psychology. This is the Netherlands study of depression in older person, which NESDO is a multi-site naturalistic prospective cohort study, which makes it possible to examine the determinants, the cause, and the consequences of depressive disorder in older people. over a period of 6 years, and to compare this with those of the depression in earlier adulthood. The scientific methodology, well, they designed NESDO to study depression in old age and its unfavorable course in Netherlands. After recruiting the participants in this research, these people were evaluated in various ways, and from that information, they obtained results about mental problems, health outcomes, demographic, psychosocial, biological, cognitive, and genetic determinants. And in this, it was a field technique, which it was a structured interview because NESDO recruited 510 depressed and non-depressed older people, which were evaluated with written questionnaires, interviews, a medical examination, cognitive test, and collection of blood and saliva samples. The results of this consisted that 378 depressed people based on DSM-IV criteria and 132 non-depressed people between the ages of 60 and 93.
I'm gonna talk about historical research. The explanation of the study. What are long-term effects of COVID-19 pandemic? It was made by World Economic Forum. This research talks about how COVID-19 has affected our society since it started, as well as economic, security, and educational programs and how they have changed. Talks about the new aspects of society, how technology and digital instruments have helped, but also how economical problems has arisen at a bigger rate. Scientific methodology. The research designed for this investigation was the use of sources of information. First, we stated the problem or situation in the society. This was the society response since COVID-19 started. Then, the research through files and records was made, which got the results of the investigation article. This article is organized by sectors or aspects of society. In them, it explains the consequences and effects due to the pandemic, and how has the society adjusted to these new conditions. The research technique was the commentary, and the instrument used was sources of information, primary, secondary, and tertiary. For this report, the documentary technique was used since it collects data and information through records and files already made. The instrument used was papers and data from before to make a comparison to the present conditions. The results were: in security, digital acceleration has put onto security issues. In education, homeschooling during the lockdown has been an stressful experience for parents and pupils. And jobs and works, the office-based work has been changing the life and social interactions.
I will be presenting a comparative study. The study is named Manual Mining in Colombia, a comparison with other countries in Latin America. This study, carried out by a professor in Colombian University, Universidad de Rosario, was designed to compare conceptualization, mining legality, and formality of manual mining between Colombia and other Latin American countries. The scientific methodology used, there were dependent variables in this study, which were conceptualization, mining legality, and formality. There were 3 sources of information, including mining legal systems of 21 Latin American countries, field visits to 3 municipalities where subsistence mining took place, and a semi-structured survey to the interview to the mayors of the municipalities with the greatest mining tradition in the country. The field technique was used in this study, and the instrument was a non-structured interview. The field technique was used in the study given that information was collected through observation and interviewing. The instrument used was interviews directed to 114 mayors of cities with mining activity. The results. Of the 21 countries studied, only 10 include the concept of manual mining in their legal systems, and the employment figures in the region are scarce due to the clandestinity and informality of the activity, and because most of the studies carried out to date include the and small-scale mining in the same group. It was estimated that the number of workers in small-scale mining and the discriminated by countries was, in descending order, Brazil with 250,000 workers, Colombia with 200,000, Bolivia with 100,000, Ecuador with 60,000, Peru with 50,000, Venezuela with 40,000, Chile with 12,000, Nicaragua with 6,000, Argentina with 5,800, Cuba with 5,000, Panama with 4,500, and the Dominican Republic with 3,000.
With this, we conclude our presentation. Thank you and have a nice day.